Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Get for the Ship Ministry Homeless Stress Relief Workshop. Hope we'll have a good evening today. This is the third workshop we are running in this same location. I just want to remind us about what homelessness entails. When I look at some statistics, I discover that there is an estimated 227,000 people in England who are experiencing homelessness. This includes people who sleep rough on the street, or who are sheltering in vans or sheds, or they are staying in B&Bs. You know, this breakfast and overnight stay. So 227,000 people in UK, in England, experience every kind of homelessness. So this is to tell us that the seriousness of the issue, which means that out of a population of 56 million people living in the UK, 1 in 250 people is homeless. You see, this is very significant. So it is not something to be neglected, which is the reason why Get for the Ship Ministry came up with this idea to talk about this topic and organize a series of workshops to raise awareness about the issue and the side effect that comes with it, and to try to help those who are in the situation and who don't know what to do with the difficulties they are experiencing. I want to remind us what we've said so far, that homelessness is not a personal choice. So people don't choose to become homeless, but they are forced into homelessness. This is important to emphasize. People are forced into homelessness through personal reasons, personal circumstances, but also through systemic reason. That means the system is operating in such a way that some people find it difficult to have a stable home, and they have to move around to different locations, different places. So being homeless is not just about sleeping rough on the street. No, if you don't have a specific place to sleep, a home, a permanent home, that means you are homeless. So today you are at your friend, tomorrow, like I said, you are in a van, you stay overnight in a van. After tomorrow, you are in a bed and breakfast room, and then the next morning you move again. So this means you are homeless. But for the purpose of this project, we focus more on asylum seekers and refugees who are experiencing homelessness, and we wanted community workers to be involved because they live close to that community, so they on a daily basis they live with them, they understand the problem, they discuss the issues, and all community workers are welcome to this series of workshops. This one being the third. And we have the privilege to host a professional in mental health, Dr. Hubert Kayonda is a PhD and researcher at the University of Yorkshire. So he has been a blessing for us in the beginning of this workshop. And tonight he's here with us again to continue to speak to us about this experience of stress, because whichever route makes you homeless, the fact is that you will experience stress. So stress in itself is not mental health, but stress, as Dr. Hubert has explained, stress can lead to mental health problem or can make worse the existing problems. And when you develop mental health problem, it will make worse your stress. You see, they are connected. So stress causes mental health, and mental health causes stress. So they are all connected. So during this series of workshops, Doctor is explaining to us how we can, what kind of experience we can have when we go through this experience of homelessness, and what is stress, and what are the symptoms of stress. Remember, stress is a silent killer, is a serious killer and a silent killer. So if you don't address it, if you don't talk about it, it can kill you in silence. That's why we are encouraging you guys to come and attend this series of workshops. So like I said, asylum seekers find themselves homeless because their claim has been dismissed. Maybe they have appealed, and in the meantime, the government support has stopped, and they become homeless. Maybe your case has been determined by the Home Office, and I've told you that you've exhausted all the steps of the asylum legislation, so there is nothing else left. So the only option for you is now to leave the country and go back home, where you are aware that there are still problems, your life will still be in danger. And imagine the circumstances in which you will find yourself. So it's a serious issue, this homelessness thing and the stress associated with it. And so it's a privilege to have among us Dr. Hubert, a well-read man, a man who knows very well mental health and what mental health can cause to our lives. Some people are afraid to come forward and say and declare that I'm homeless. They think it's a shameful thing to disclose my homelessness status. But what we have been encouraging people is to come, because if you don't come, if you don't discuss with somebody, you will die in silence. Nobody will know that you are experiencing stress, and stress may lead to suicidal thought, and you may take yourself your life. And this is not the plan that God has for us. So without delay, I would like to invite Dr. Hubert to continue with the topic and to tell us more. Last time it was very interesting because the interaction was really helpful. We discovered a lot of things that people are going through. And some people didn't know to face it. So doctor was trying to tell us ways of developing resilience, way of coping strategies. How do we cope? Because the stress is there, the homelessness is there, but how do we cope? Do we run away? Do we face it? Or we die because of it? So he's here to, and it was interesting to learn that technique of switching off from the source of pressure and switching on to something else that could distract us from the source of stress. So without delay, I want to invite Dr. Hubert to come forward and continue to bless us with his insight into stress and mental health.
Thank you so much. Carry on what we started, and I'm really pleased because you make my job easier by introducing and explaining things. So today we continue about this topic. People who are struggling because of their situations, and this meeting actually is an interaction. I would like you to ask questions, and but I will introduce that so to push you to come out with your ideas. I remember last time was really very useful and it helped many people to understand why we need to talk about the stress, why the issue of people being homeless, and I share actually my own experience. Because most of the time people are saying, oh no, I can't talk about my issue. But when I came and I share my own experience, people say, wow, that's good. And I push people to share their own experience or to ask questions because we can understand how we are struggling. So my name is Dr. Hubert Kayondangamaba. I'm a researcher at the University of York, and I work for the NHS. And my area is mental health, so because I'm a psychologist. When I came in this country, I was not expecting to go to that area. But I've noticed that a lot of people were struggling, and because back home I did biology and chemistry, and I was doing more research in that area, and I went to Bible school. So when I arrived, I noticed that we had a lot of people from my community who were struggling with their everyday life. And because they were struggling with their everyday life, they need help. That's why it pushed me to go to that area of psychology and to start to learn. And I've noticed that the need is so real, and I need putting more time and more investment to learn a bit more. So having a stressful life is for everybody. We are living in a stressful environment. Because to live, we got stress all the time around us. So we are living in a stressful environment because of what we are facing in our everyday life. And I'm talking more about asylum seekers because we want to focus around those people who are homeless. Last time I explained a bit the process. So when you move from your country, home country, that means you've been stable, living without any issues, but as soon things start to change, that can create stress. And you decided, I remember I decided to leave my country and to come to the UK. So as soon you are moving from one country to another, you are facing difficulties because you need to understand the environment. Even here in the UK, you need to cope with the weather. So things become very, very tough. You need to learn the new language, especially for me. When I came, I didn't know to speak English, so I have to go to college to learn English. And when you are facing difficulties, when you can't understand what other people are doing, it becomes very, very stressful. And you feel a bit like, I'm not in my area, I'm not in my comfort zone, and that can make things more difficult. And as soon as I started to feel that pressure, I've noticed that I need to do something. I need to do something. That's why we'll be going to talk about the symptom or how people got stressed. But I want first to start to explain how people get that situation being homeless. And when you claim asylum, like Dr. Francois was talking, so people will struggle actually because the process is so tough in England. England, UK is one of the toughest country if we look at the immigration way, how they welcome people, how they support them during that process. And because of that, you'll be easily rejected because your asylum claim will be rejected. And if you look at the statistic at the moment, they're saying that most people who've been rejected, 80% when they appeal, they will win the appeal. But unfortunately, that there's other people who never had that chance to appeal. There's other people who not have a chance to have a good solicitor. Other people who struggle not to have a structure to help them to get through that process. So that's why we got that issue of stress and pressure coming in the life of people. And after that, you see that the language and the changing the environment, that can make another pressure on people. And people who find themselves homeless, most of the time is people who who've been stable in their life, but because they want maybe difficulties related to the relationship, or they had problem because of immigration status, all that, because of that, they find themselves to be homeless. And because they're homeless, now they start to think about their past and said, no, this is not me. I can't cope with this. It's a bit too much. It's very difficult. I'm not comfortable with this situation. That's why the issue of pressure and homelessness. So I will come with some symptoms we got when people are homeless. First of all, we know that when your people are homeless, they don't have a place to stay. And some of them, they don't have access to health. That means they have to pay for their medication. I know that in England, we got the NHS, and the NHS gives the support to all people. But people who are homeless, they are more vulnerable and they struggle sometimes to get a proper health support. And because of the pressures coming from unemployment, they can't work. Because we know people who've been working in the past, they had a very good, stable life. When they arrive and the Home Office said, we are not giving you the status. And as soon they said that they refused your case, you need now to understand that you're going through a very difficult phase because you can't work. And when you can't work, you got pressure, you got family home, you got people you need to support, and that becomes very difficult. And very, very hard, it's very, very hard for people who are single. For people who are married, who got children, they may get more support through the children. But when you are single, they will put you in a small bedroom without no consideration because they know that you have no dependent and you may cope, and that becomes very difficult. Remember last time when I gave my example, when I arrived here, I arrived alone, and they put me there. They sent me in Bolton, and when they sent me in Bolton, I arrived in Bolton. I had no connection in Bolton, but I was welcomed by one of my neighbors, one guy. When I saw him, he said to him, no, you need to go to find things because I'm not the same religion as you. And that was a pressure for me. Oh, yeah. We want to give the interpretation because our goal is to reach more people who can understand that. Yes, I was saying that when you arrive as a new person in the UK, you may face difficulties. The first one is the immigration process, and the second one because of the language. And we can add as well the weather. And all that will be because for people who don't have the opportunity to come with their family, they will be feeling alone. Especially if you don't have a family. And if you don't know even a community where you should go. I know many people sometimes will ask a question, why you are in England, but you go to your churches, your community, and you speak in French or Lingala. The issue is when you arrive, you don't know the language. So you need to take time to learn the language and to understand what other people are doing. But at the same time, you need to be connected. That's why our community play a key role to help people to know where they should go, where they should buy the food, or how they should find the college. All those things are very, very useful. And many people, they may struggle with the study as well. When you arrive, you need to go to college. And when you go to college, you need to learn to write, you need to learn to do assignment, to do a lot of things. And that become a pressure. So you can understand that our life is so challenging and we really struggle when people come. So stress is that pressure or tension you are receiving because of adversity, because of things not working the way it's supposed to.
Alors le stress, c'est cette pression-là que vous recevez et qui fait que vous ne pouvez pas vivre votre vie comme vous l'aurez souhaité.
Our life is full of stress.
Notre vie est plein de stress.
But the problem it will be difficult. It become a really issue when you can't cope with
Et
stress.
ça devient plus pire encore si vous ne savez pas comment vous adapter à ce stress, à cet environnement plein de stress.
And other people, they will find difficult because of not working, staying home, doing nothing. That become a very, very big pressure for people who've been working, who've been stable in their home
Donc
countries.
pour ceux qui étaient peut-être très stables dans leur pays d'origine, ils travaillaient, mais ils viennent ici, on leur refuse le droit de travailler, ils doivent rester à la maison. Tout ça, ça rend leur vie très compliquée, très pénible.
And there is other people who face difficulties when they are looking for a job as well because of the challenge, the difference between moving from one country to another.
Parfois, lorsque vous voulez, même si on vous donne le permis de travail, mais aller chercher du travail, c'est déjà un exercice très compliqué à cause de la différence des systèmes pour obtenir un emploi.
So other people they may struggle because they're working with a 0 hours contract.
D'autres personnes expérimentent le stress parce que leur contrat c'est 0 heure.
That means they have to they can't plan anything. They're waiting with their phone. If they call them, then they start to go to work, and that becomes very, very stressful.
Quand ton contrat c'est 0 heure, ça veut dire que tu n'es pas garanti le boulot. Tu dois attendre, veiller que ton téléphone sonne, que ton agence t'appelle pour que tu ailles travailler. Et tout ça, ça rend les choses incertaines et ça ajoute à la pression sur vous.
And I know many people when they want to do the job, but when they go there, they arrive, they will say to them, unfortunately, your shift has been cancelled, and they have to go
Parfois,
back.
vous avez du travail, mais lorsque vous arrivez, les jours même d'aller travailler, on vous dit que non, votre chiffre a été annulé. Vous êtes obligé de repousser.
So that's a big issue we are facing as immigrants and people are coming in.
Tout ça, ça fait partie des difficultés que nous expérimentons en tant que demandeurs d'asile ou réfugiés.
Because when you got the right to work, most people, they will get the good position and they will leave the 0 hours contract for people who are immigrants.
Alors, ce qui fait que les gens qui trouvent du travail, ils vont trouver un contrat et ils vont laisser le 0 heure contrat aux immigrés.
And that's a big childcare. You have to go to school and you have to collect children. All those things, it could be a stressful life.
Childcare, donc le soin des enfants. Il faut vous assurer que vous êtes à temps pour récupérer déposer d'abord votre enfant à l'école et puis le récupérer à temps. Parce que si vous ne le faites pas, ça va vous créer aussi d'autres problèmes avec les services sociaux.
And at the same time, you have to go to college to learn.
Parfois, vous devez aller au collège aussi étudier. Alors tout ça, si vous avez une famille, des enfants, ça devient très compliqué.
So you can see that our life is a stressful life.
Donc vous pouvez vous rendre compte que notre vie est déjà une vie de stress.
But most people, they were said, how do we know that I've got stress?
Et dans la question que les gens se posent, comment je sais que j'ai le stress?
By explaining all that kind of environment, you can understand. And when you feel too much pressure on you, that's the stressful life.
Donc, lorsque vous allez comprendre votre environnement, l'environnement dans lequel vous évoluez, et la vie que cela vous pousse à vivre, c'est alors que vous allez comprendre vraiment le stress.
Other people, they may struggle to sleep when they are under stress.
Il y en a qui ne peuvent plus dormir, ils ont des difficultés à dormir à cause du stress.
There is other people who struggle to digest their food.
Parfois, c'est difficile de digérer la nourriture.
Other people will not have the good appetite. They're not
Parfois, vous
willing to eat.
manquez l'appétit.
And other people will eat too much.
Il y en a qui vont manger beaucoup pour se consoler.
And other people have the high blood pressure.
D'autres personnes vont expérimenter l'hypertension
And other people may have a low headache.
et beaucoup de migraines, beaucoup de maux de tête.
But what is important, we need to understand that the stress affects our immune system.
Ce qui est important à comprendre, c'est que le stress affecte notre système immunitaire.
So when normally our body fights by itself.
Normalement, notre corps se défend lui-même.
And when you got the stress, it reduces the ability for your body to
Lorsque
fight.
tu connais beaucoup de stress, ça réduit votre capacité à vous défendre.
That means any kind of bacteria or virus
Ce qui signifie que n'importe quel virus, bactérie,
and when it's coming in your body,
qui vient dans votre
your
corps,
body is not willing or your body is not able to fight,
et votre
then you
corps
start to struggle.
est incapable de se défendre correctement et ça devient une lutte sérieuse.
So it's important for us to understand
Donc
that
c'est important
stress is really dangerous and we
que
need to
nous
know
comprenions
how
que
to
le
cope with it.
stress nous débrouiller avec le stress.
And some cancers are caused by stress.
Et certains cancers, d'ailleurs, ça a été démontré que certains cancers sont causés par le stress.
And even a stroke.
Même la paralysie.
And
On appelle les strokes, la paralysie, donc
because I
c'est
told
causé
you
par
that
le stress.
the stress can increase our blood pressure.
Parce que le stress augmente la pression artérielle.
And because of that, when you got too much, when your blood is traveling faster than normal,
Et quand
that
la
can affect
pression artérielle est plus élevée,
that can affect your heart.
ça affecte ton cœur.
And when your brain is lacking
Et
oxygen,
quand ton
you
cerveau
can have a
manque
stroke.
l'oxygène, donc tu peux faire la paralysie.
So it's important for us to understand that stress is not a good friend.
Donc c'est important que nous puissions réaliser que vraiment le stress n'est pas bon pour notre santé
But
mentale.
what we should do when we are living, because we know that we're living in a stressful life.
Maintenant, Comment faire parce que nous vivons de toute façon dans une vie, un environnement stressé. Alors, comment nous devons faire?
That our body sometimes need a break.
La première des choses que nous devons comprendre, c'est que notre corps a besoin de repos.
Because when you are working under pressure,
Quand tu travailles, tu es
time.
sous pression,
maybe in a factory when there is
tu vas au travail, tu as un boulot, parfois tu
deadline.
travailles dans une compagnie, dans une...
And you got the pressure coming from a supervisor or
vous
manager.
avez des pressions qui viennent de votre superviseur.
When you're coming home, you need to find time to have a break.
Quand vous revenez à la maison, en tout cas, trouvez le temps de vous reposer.
Unfortunately, some people may struggle when they're coming home because they got stressful life at home.
Parfois, le stress, nous le trouvons chez nous à la maison.
And we need now to learn how to cope with
Et
that.
nous devons apprendre comment nous adapter à tout ça.
So the best thing is to understand first about the stress. That will be a starting point to help you to cope with.
Alors, la première étape pour vous aider à vous adapter au stress, c'est donc la détente peut faire une grande différence.
For example, you may say, okay, I want to listen to nice music you are listening.
Alors, c'est la musique chrétienne va faire que vous allez vous détourner un peu de la pression du travail, des ordres, du superviseur, et vous connectez à cette belle musique qui va détendre un peu votre esprit.
Other people, they will say, okay, I will watch TV, but now TV could be a source of stress.
Il y en a qui diront que, bon, moi je vais regarder la télévision, mais la télévision peut devenir aussi une source de stress.
So you need to select what are you watching.